current treasurer. Thanks for recording, Nancy. I'm the current treasurer of the club. Welcome to Brilliant Advanced Toastmasters. I hope everyone enjoys themselves tonight. To make tonight's session brilliant, I will need each and every one of your support. First, some ground rules before we zoom into action. The first ground rule is mute your microphone if you are not talking. The second rule is only post chat messages relevant to the speeches, so no potentially hurtful messages to other attendees. So before we begin, allow me to announce the changes to the program sheet for tonight. So Sailing will be helping out as the project evaluator for Ganesha's speech instead of myself, as I will be doing the Toastmaster of the evening. Before I start, I want to share about August. This month is National Day. Did anyone watch the National Day parade? Maybe you can post in the chat with a one or a yes. Oh, great. We have a few people who watched the National Day parade. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think it's a good time to commemorate the nation for all that Singapore has done for us. Yeah. Okay. So for tonight, we have, I think Lang Sing has shared the program sheet in the PDF in the chat. You can download that PDF. That will be what we'll be going through in tonight's speech. Let me go through our appointment holders. To help us to keep time today, we have, wait a second. To help us to keep time today, we have Tun Ling, our beloved club member. Next, to help us with language evaluation, we have Devi Havidas, our esteemed member and also a lawyer. For the rest of the, and then for our counter, we have our esteemed member Jin Tan, who will be helping us to count the number of R's and E's we speak. And without further ado, let me pass on the time over to, you don't have the, oh, to Miss Devi Havidas for the word of the day. Miss Devi, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and friends. Very good to see all of you here in this room today. The word that I have picked for today is congenial. I think I'd like to post this in the chat box so that you can have a look at it at leisure. Give me just one moment. Chat box. There you are. Okay. Are you able to see it in the chat box? Yes? Okay. The word is spelled with a O, C-O-N-G-E-N-I-A-L, but you do not pronounce it as congenial. They also have the help for you to find out how to pronounce it below it. It's pronounced as a congenial. Congenial. In fact, you have different syllables of a word with different emphasis. For this word, congenial, the emphasis is obviously on the second syllable, congenial. What does it mean? If you say it of a person, it's someone who's agreeable, likable, pleasant. You can also apply it to a situation. For example, it was a congenial environment for a child to pick up a language, or we could have a congenial Toastmasters chapter meeting today. That's the word I've chosen for us today, if you can, please use it in the course of your presentation. That would be nice. If you forget, I think the Toastmaster of the evening will prompt you every now and then. So with that, I pass the time back to Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Devi. Yes, let's have a congenial Toastmasters meeting today. And yeah, so for those who are not very familiar with Toastmasters, every session we have this word of the day, which is a good way to get every one of us who will be speaking later to exercise their creativity in using this word congenial to improve our vocabulary and also to make the meeting more interesting. Moving on to the next segment, we have our president's opening address, which will set the tone of tonight's meeting. For the opening address, let us give a warm welcome to our president, Cheryl. Cheryl, please.
Hi. Good evening, district officers and fellow Toastmasters. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to our club this evening. It has been a very fun month for me since our last meeting, our last club meeting. And what about all of you? Do type in the chat box as to how have you been doing? I'll actually give you a few moments so you can actually type. I really had fun in the past 1 month because of the NDP. We have our holidays. We recently have our National Day, and this year for NDP was a weird one for me because there is the K-pop aunties that have made a very big impression on me. Then there is also a girl Thai singer, but then and also a little embarrassed about the influencer that mentioned about the BTO queue number. As we Singaporeans, we can actually relate, so it was great fun. Oh, that's good that you are doing well. And for the rest of you, you can actually share some of your thoughts about what you think about NDP as well. So feel free. I also really love the Phoenix fireworks that was inside the NDP also. It was really amazing. The Phoenix was so spectacular. Then next, we soon have many more upcoming festive events coming up soon, like the Hungry Ghost Festival. There's also the Mooncake Festival and more. Except for me, I have to actually make and bake the mooncakes at this timing. Just in case you don't know, a fun fact about me, I don't like baking even though I bake. So even so, I love the experience of sharing the mooncake to my relatives and my peers. So I really had that fun. That's why I actually baked the mooncakes. I do hope that you guys will be able to receive the mooncakes soon and enjoy the festive goodies. Nowadays, there's also many good dramas that are coming out for you to enjoy. For me, personally, I'm a very drama and movie kind of person. And currently, I've been watching a lot of Korean dramas, and one, namely today's webtoon. Shameless advertisement over here. I watch it for the lead actress Kim Se-jong. Side note, she is very cute, very pretty, and very inspirational. Do watch her. Love her also. Thank you. But I'm just kidding. The real reason why I'm sharing about this drama is because there are really a lot of life lessons in it that is very relatable to many people. And I do like to share some of the quotes over here. For those who are in a very dark state, and you guys might be experiencing something like a writer block, or you might actually be negative about some things. The quote goes that if you think that way, it will happen to you. If you say it out loud, it will happen to you. Words have power. It's a very strong quote for me since I'm a little bit of a pessimistic person, and I do want to change it myself for the better. And for those who are the same as me, let's change together. Let's say things that are very positive and we can work towards it so that it will work out. And another thing, another quote for those who are starting out or hesitated to do something. The quote goes, instead of asking yourself, can I do this? You should be asking, do I really want to do this? As I'm sure that at some point we will actually face the same question. Can I do this? Am I up for it? Should I do this? But if we actually ask ourselves this question, nothing will move. However, if we change our mindset and wanting something will help us motivate ourselves and push us further to our goals and our results. Anything and everything is possible. It might be hard and it might not go as expected. And even if some things might not be working, we can actually just go for another approach. And if we persist, the result will show. Just like how I am dealing with stuttering for my whole life, and now I stutter much lesser. And I want to have this opening speech to have a bit of the reporter and motivational speaker vibe. I hope that I do motivate you and do give you some entertainment to actually kick off the meeting in a good note. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it and have a good evening ahead and enjoy yourself with the upcoming programs that are planned for you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Cheryl. Oh, that was motivating. It really gets us to think whether do we really want to do something, not whether we can do something or not. It's a good food for thought. Next up is our prepared speech segment. For those new to Toastmasters, this is based on the Toastmasters Pathways program, where you select the pathways and clear speeches based on the pathways manual provided. The first project speech for today would be from Cheryl again, presenting her pathway speech. Can I invite the project evaluator, Koksun, to read out the project objectives, please?
Fellow Toastmasters members, the purpose of this project is for the members to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech at a club meeting.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think that's
it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, before I hand over to Cheryl, I wanted to read out the timing sequence. So in Toastmasters, we follow a timing sequence so that we can always end on time. The timing sequence is between 5 to 7 minutes. At the 5th minute mark, our timer Toon will be showing the green card. Yes, I can see the green card. Right. And at the 6th minute mark, the amber card will be shown. At the 7th minute mark, the red card will be shown. And at 7 minutes 30 seconds, the bell will be rung. And if the speaker has not yet concluded her speech, she will be disqualified from being eligible to be voted for the Best Speaker Award. Without further ado, let us invite our dearest club president, Cheryl, to be giving her speech, which is entitled, Why Villains Deserve More Love. Why Villains Deserve More Love, Cheryl. Over to you.
Okay, I will be sharing the slides. Is it, before we begin, is it seeable?
Yes, I can.
Okay, that's good. Imagine a reality and visualize in your head what I am about to say. Be in my shoes for a moment. Firstly, I have a complaint. Those people up there, the rich, the powerful, they do whatever they want. And guys like us, like you and me, they don't care about us. We build their roads, and we fight their wars and everything, but they don't care about us. Now, let's jump into a multiverse concept where I have a power and I am fated to rule the world. I found a book called The Dark Hole, and it only showed me the truth. Everything that I lost can be mine again. I have no interest in ruling the world. I am just going to leave this reality and be with my loved ones, and you will never see me again. But you know what I see? You break the rules and become a hero. I do it and I become the enemy. That hardly seems fair. Well, you might be a little confused as to what is happening. This is a reenactment of the villains of two of my favorite movies. First line is from Marvel's Spider-Man Homecoming, which is presented by the Vulture. And the second line is by the Scarlet Witch, my most favorite hero and villain. She's from the Avengers and the Doctor Strange too. Now, thank goodness for this speech because it managed to help me fulfill my dreams of being a villain for once. And as you can see, just from these lines, you can see that they have been hurt before. And they have suffered many losses before they have become the Vulture and the Scarlet Witch. If you actually research of their backstory, even though, yes, their choice might not be the best, but what can we say? They're just human. We do things differently and we make mistakes. And as much as I love heroes for protecting the world, however, I love villains at most of the time. I have seen many movies over the years, a lot more than I can count. And since we were kids, we have been taught the difference between good and evil. There are good people like Cinderella. There's also bad people like the evil queen. However, the world is not black and white anymore, especially the world and even the movies. Now, I am going to persuade you as to why villains deserve some more love than they deserve. They deserve better. Firstly, villains are realistic. If you actually research and know their backstory, you will realize that most of them are not 100% evil. They are just humans who have their own imperfection and a dark side. Like Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. He's just a depressed and agitated man, or should I say octopus. And if you think about it, none of his dreams ever come true. And he's stuck at a job that he hates. And as you know, SpongeBob, an iconic character, is quite annoying as a neighbor. And maybe for Draco from Harry Potter's, in the first few movies, he's nothing more than just a spoiled kid who picks on people. However, soon as he enters into adulthood, he's suppressed to following orders and soon have the fear of stepping out of line and be punished. And if this happens, because all he wanted was to just please his parents. Secondly, villains are just human beings, but just with a worse situation happening to them. They are complex and troubled characters, with their situation driving them into the dark side. One example would be the Darth Vader from Star Wars. He's just a young boy who possesses tremendous talents and have a deep love for those that are closest to him. However, because of his fear that was generated by the pressure, by the visions that he sees, and losing his love of his life. Not only that, he's being manipulated by someone, which is the evil master, who harbor his hatred of the Jedi Council. which is followed by him losing his legs and his arm, which is cut by his own master, and his master left him to suffer. And with all of that happening, he embodied the Dark Vader. The fear that he has, being manipulated by others, having to lose so many things, is so unfortunate to him. And lastly, villains push boundaries and are unpredictable. Yeah, they may be wacky and crazy at times, but if you think about it, they are quite unique, and they are the most honest being that you will ever see, because they are very true to themselves and they don't care about what other people think. That's what's special about them. They will just say things, they will not say things like, you look good and all those things just to be nice. They will tell you what they think. They are free, and that's probably what we want for ourselves. We follow the social norms and behave according to the social norms. However, they don't care about society at all. The way they act, without caring about anyone else's expectations or the limits that are imposed to them. In conclusion, villains are just like us, just a bit more dramatic and more sadder. And even though they do make mistakes, they are very interesting in their own way. And heroes sometimes tend to be very unrealistic and too good to be true. And not only that, if there is no villain, we won't have a good story. And as the saying goes, a hero would sacrifice you to save the world, but a villain will sacrifice the world to save you. So, what are you doing? Give villains more love. And back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Cheryl. Yes, villains may not be the most congenial, but they are definitely very relatable to us. Thank you for shedding a positive light on villains. And you must be a huge movie buff taking references from different movies. Before I go on, a gentle reminder to our speakers to use the word of the day, congenial. Next up, we have our speech by Ganesha, our member, and also he's also a clean energy researcher. The timing sequence remains the same as 5 to 7 minutes. Can we invite our project evaluator, Sailing, to read out the project objectives, please?
The purpose of Ganesha's project is to practice applying feedback and to serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. And the purpose of his speech is for Ganesha to demonstrate his ability to deliver an effective, respectful speech, evaluation speech. And so Ganesha would need to identify at least one change he has made to his speech and deliver that based on his first evaluation and feedback.
Okay, thank you, Sailing. Without further ado, we can invite Ganesha to give his speech, which is entitled, Is It Too Late? Is it too late, Ganesha? Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is it too late? Honestly, I was quite surprised by our president's opening speech, because somehow my presentation is similar to what her speech was. So physical training is like investing. So before I begin, I have to first tell why I chose this topic, because I could talk about anything. I could talk about green energy or LPM, which is a diploma I'm doing, leadership people management. But there was two reasons why I chose this topic. First reason is I just turned 30 for the past few months back. And anyone who works in finance will know that that's when all financial advisors will chase you down and introduce you to the long-term care. So I had a financial advisor came down to me and spoke to me and told me that by 2063, about 50% of the people roughly our age will be disabled. So as someone who works in research, I did not find that numbers realistic enough. So it made zero sense to me. So I did some research and I found that the number of birth rates being produced, babies being produced are dropping. However, the proportion of singles above 35 are at a increase. And this is mainly due to being because they're career driven. And next thing is the type of jobs. There's an increase in service and IT industry, and there's a reduction in the number of locals in construction and manufacturing industry. So due to this, more locals are sitting down and spending more time on the TV or on the computer. So this number, 50%, it was more of a mathematical issue. So I was like, okay, let's put this aside. However, the second reason that made me choose this final topic is because I was talking with my mother recently, and she went to a funeral recently, and she said roughly everyone around her age were sickly or depressed, and they were blaming everything except themselves. Then my mom was telling me that, well, I'm still healthy, and my mother has a congenial environment. And I told her, you are lucky because you're haunted by a stay active ghost, and that is me. Hence, I felt that I should be that ghost for most of you. So what do you need to live a healthy life? Simple: quality air, nutritious food, clean water, and a good mental and physical health. So for this, we'll be tackling a good mental and physical health. So this is just some simple statistics that post-COVID, which is currently now, more people are claim to be more motivated to be healthy and claim to be healthier. They're exercising more, eating healthier, and spending more time on supplements. I have issues with this, but I'm not going to get into that. However, the negative impact is more people are spending time on looking through the screen without using glasses such as Blu-ray technology, or they're sitting longer, which for the past 1 hour, majority of us are sitting down. They're eating more junk food. They are not sleeping enough, which I'm guilty for. And lastly, they are drinking and smoking more. And the sad thing about this is 1 out of 4 have considered suicide. So you see, these things are all contradicting each other. So the real question is it getting worse? Yes, it is getting worse, but we can solve this. There are studies done that a percentage of mental health actually linked to physical health issues. So what can we do to better yourself? We are all adults, so let's take charge of our life. So the major leading cause for mental health is usually financial or sense of belonging, also known as self-worth. So here are some pointers that I would like to introduce. And disclaimer, I'm not an expert. I'm just taking some experience and what I've researched on. So for financial issues, talk to an FA of your financial advisor, or talk to multiple. Gain knowledge to an industry you're not familiar with and plan your life. Next is for self-worth. You can learn something new, a skill or a language. So most of us have access to SkillsFuture. Why not just learn a new skill? Use the WSQ or an app I use to learn language, which is free, the Duolingo. Okay, so why are most people not being physically active? And they're lying to themselves by saying, oh, after, or maybe in 6 months' time, but they end up not doing it. One thing, they perceive there's a lack of time. So how to solve this? It's a method I use for others, and that is block off 0.5 to 1 hour of your time. So rather than having 24 hours of time, just use 23 hours and complete whatever's necessary within 23 hours, and you have a spare time of half an hour to 1 hour to work out. Next, just wear your sports shoe. Studies have proven that it's a lot more, people are much more lazy to take out their shoes the moment they want it compared to just walking out. Next, most people have exercises that are related to injuries. So why not do some aquatic walks or workouts like swimming, or you can do yoga. Next, exercising is not fun. Why not be more goal related? Or use an app if you like running, like the Zombie Run app, get a buddy, join community clubs or company teams. And the lack of purpose to start. This is fundamentally quite important when you want to start working out. And these reasons why you start off will always change over the years. And it's good to change every time. And the know-how. So the only solution I can give for this is you're using technology to view this, and the internet is really not power. So just use it. So to combine everything, I would like to challenge you right now. You have a purpose, goal, and you will do. Simply use these exercises and try aim for a minimum of 80 points. Thank you.
Oh, Thanks, Ganesha. Wow. I really like your practical tips, especially the one that says just wear your sports shoe, which will increase your chances of exercise by 70%. Finally, our third project speech will be from Liang Xing, presenting a short 2 to 3 minutes speech. Can I invite the project evaluator, David Haridas, to read out the project objectives, please?
Yes, the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing a plan, building a team, and fulfilling the plan with the help of his or her team. The purpose of the first speech is for the member to give a short overview of the plan for his or her project, which will be today's speech. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Debbie. For a 2 to 3 minute speech, the timing sequence will be different. It will be as follows. At the second minute, the timer will show the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Tooling will show the amber card. And at 3 minutes, the timer will show the red card. Without further ado, let us pass over the time to Liang Xing, who will be sharing his plan that is entitled Supercharge Your Pathway. Supercharge Your Pathway. Liang Xing, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
On 30th of July, I was attending a training when what the trainer mentioned gave me a shock. How did I not see this before? You see, a club every year has 10 goals that they need to achieve in a year. And I was attending our Division Z training when the trainer says that in order to have a successful club, the biggest component of the club's goal is on education. If you take a look at the slides that I'm sharing, education comprises 6 out of 10 of these goals, and followed by membership, training, and administration. So in other words, if a club is successful in their membership, in their training, and in their administration, they will still not hit the requirement for a distinguished club, which is at least a minimum of 5 goals and above. So how did I do this? Okay, so this is what happens when you have kids. All right, so right, and not only that, right? To make things more challenging, the Toastmasters decided to spice things up last year, October. You can look at the old level 1 in before October 2021, and there's a shorter level 1. The new level 1 after October 21 has more speeches to complete, which means that the members will need more time to complete their level 1. Right, so what does this mean for the club? This means that, as a club, we will have challenges getting members to complete their pathways within this term, simply because they have more speeches to complete on their level 1. So I've decided to do this Supercharge Your Pathway project, and I'm getting our youthful president, Cheryl, and our veteran Toastmasters, Sam, in order to be my team, so that I can tap on their experiences and ideas and to achieve how we can supercharge our pathway speeches for our new members. And my objective is to help at least 6 members to complete their level 1 and level 2 project. So I want to conclude this by saying we have a plan. It's not the East Coast plan. We will have a plan, and we will get to you once we have a plan, and we'll implement this in the months ahead. And I hope to complete this objective with the help of Sam and Cheryl. Thank you, and over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Liang Xing, for that plan that we will definitely achieve. We will think of and brainstorm of ideas on how we can help our members to supercharge their pathways. We are now at the end of the prepared speech segment. Can we invite our timer Tooling to give us the timer's report, please?
Okay, hi everyone. For Cheryl, her timing is 7 minutes and 24 seconds. Ganesha is 6 minutes and 14 seconds. For Liang Xing is 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Tooling. So all qualify to be voted for the best speaker. Can, right, let me look at Yang, are you able to?
Yeah, sure. What do you need? Mentimeter, is it?
Mentimeter, yes.
So all qualify?
Yes, all qualify to be voted.
Okay, just give me a minute.
Sure. While Langsing help to prepare the Mentimeter voting, let me quickly describe it. Basically, for best prepared, for all prepared speeches and for the evaluation speeches later, all those that qualify to be voted, which means those that meet the that speak within the allocated timing, they're eligible to be voted for the best speaker award or the best evaluator award. And everyone can help to help to vote for who you think spoke the best. And I see Liang Sing has already posted the Mentimeter code. So you can go to menti.com and use the code written there 17246386, or click the link in the chat to vote for the best speaker award. And with that, while you all do the voting, we'll have a short 7 minutes break, and we will come back again at about 8:17 p.m. Thank you. See you all later. If you have any questions so far, can also post in the chat.
Hello, I'm Stacy. Thanks for visiting Toastmasters International, where more than 4 million people have become more confident speakers and leaders. They did so by visiting a Toastmasters club in their company or community. When you visit a club, you'll find 3 things. Members give speeches, they take on meeting roles, and they have a great time learning. There's no designated teacher in a Toastmasters meeting. Instead, much of the learning happens by doing a particular task, such as giving a formal speech or fulfilling a particular meeting role. Ready to visit a club? It's free, and you can find one near you on the Toastmasters website at www.toastmasters.org. The purpose of the meeting roles is to help the members improve their speaking and leadership skills by providing feedback and evaluation. There are 7 different meeting roles: Toastmaster of the Day, Awe Counter, Grammarian, Timer, Evaluator, Table Topics Master, and General Evaluator. Every meeting is started by the club president, who introduces the Toastmaster of the Day. The Toastmaster of the Day is the host of the meeting. Fulfilling this role is great practice for leading meetings. The Toastmaster begins by introducing people who will fill other meeting roles for the day. He or she acts like an MC and keeps the meeting flowing smoothly and on time. Many clubs use an awe counter to document the number of filler words members use while speaking. At the end of each meeting, the awe counter reports how many ahs, and other similar words each speaker used. This helps members become more aware of unintended words or sounds they make when they speak. The grammarian helps members expand their vocabularies. One of the grammarian's duties is to provide a word of the day and its definition. If a member uses the word of the day or says something well, the grammarian calls attention to it. As the name implies, the timer records the exact length of each speech. He or she also uses timing lights to help speakers stay within their allocated time limits. The general evaluator takes notes throughout the meeting and reports back to everyone, giving specific feedback on how well the meeting flowed and also on how future meetings might be improved. The general evaluator also calls for reports by the counter, grammarian, and timer. In every club meeting, there are at least 2 members who present speeches. These speakers don't just stand up and start talking. They use the guidelines in their designated education manuals to prepare their presentations and reach the objectives for each speech. Every speaker who has prepared speeches in advance enjoys one of Toastmasters' greatest benefits: evaluation. Think of it as having a friend watch you practice a speech and then give you helpful feedback. The speaker usually meets with an evaluator before the meeting and asks the evaluator to pay attention to certain aspects of the talk. After all the speeches are done, the evaluators present their feedback in front of the club, covering areas such as, did the speakers use their hands to gesture well? Did they control their voices throughout the speeches? What did they do especially well, and what are some ideas for improvement? In addition to prepared speeches, a few minutes are set aside for table topics. This is often the most challenging, but also the most fun part of our meetings. During table topics, a series of questions or speaking topics are presented, and members are selected to respond on the spot. This is excellent training for those situations that come up in everyone's lives, where we have to think fast and say just the right thing. It might be a job interview, a sales meeting, or a dinner conversation. Table topics are great for practicing and honing the skills of impromptu speaking. Now that all the reports have been made, the president calls the meeting to a close. Everyone joins Toastmasters with a personal goal. Maybe it's a goal to become a more competent presenter, or learn how to run a meeting, or think faster on your feet. Whatever it is, you can achieve your goal if you participate. So, what's your goal? For more information on the club experience, please visit a Toastmasters club. To learn more about how you can become a better speaker and leader, visit www.toastmasters.org. To find a Toastmasters meeting near you, visit the Find a Club section at www.toastmasters.org.
Hello, welcome back everyone. We found that video insightful. The video illustrates the flow of a typical Toastmasters meeting. Now let us move on to the next segment, which is the prepared speech evaluation segment. The purpose of the evaluation is to provide constructive feedback to our speakers. To evaluate our members on their prepared speeches, our evaluators for this evening will be allocated 2 to 3 minutes, and the timing sequence is as follows. At the second minute, the timer will show the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the timer will show the amber card. And at the third minute, the timer will show the red card. At 3 minutes and 30 seconds, the timer will ring the bell, and the speaker will have to have concluded the speech evaluation before the bell is rung. Gentle reminder to all evaluators to use the word of the day, congenial. Without further ado, let us begin with our first evaluator, who is Kok Soon, who will be evaluating Cheryl's speech. Kok Soon, please, over to you.
Hello, Toastmaster member. Today I'm going to evaluate Cheryl's talk on why Williams deserve more love. Why bad guys? Why you need to fall in love with bad guys? And she seemed to be quite convincing, showing us a few examples of why we need to be falling in love with those guys that she gave us a few examples for. Although I don't fully agree with her content and also her conclusion, hoping for a better world with less bad guys. However, I watch like watching every hero movies with good and bad guys. I enjoy the talk. I enjoy the graphics, and some of those movies are my favorite. I enjoy watching Joker, although can't bear seeing him being so sad, living in a very miserable life. But yeah, she has been very engaging, highly comparing, and well constructed content. So this is quite a tough topic. She appear confidence, gesture, showing tiny emotion as well when necessary. So I've seen her growing tremendously since joining Toastmasters a while ago. It's a good achievement. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Coxon. Thank you for that wonderful evaluation. Next up, to evaluate the second speech by Ganesha, we have Sailing. The timing sequence remains the same at 2 to 3 minutes. Sailing, please, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, Club President, fellow Toastmasters and friends, and especially to my esteemed speaker, Ganesha. Hi, Ganesha. Ganesha comes across as your congenial next-door neighbor, asking you to join him in the next exercise class. The purpose of his speech is to persuade us that physical training or exercise is like investing. And to get his message across to us, Ganesha spoke clearly and had very clear PowerPoint slides. I also felt that he had a very congenial speaking voice. He had eye contact with us, and he used physical gestures, mostly hand gestures, as he delivered his speech. He also shared about why he chose this topic, and the reasons were based on his own experience and that of his mom. And I felt that the reasons were very relatable. At the moment, I felt as though he spoke to our hearts. He understood the needs of the audience. I also felt he was comfortable with the audience. His speech content was also interesting, and they engaged our interests. How could Ganesha improve further in his speech delivery? Well, the title of his speech was Physical Training is Like Investing. And so, if it's a persuasive speech, we need proof. And what more credible proof could you have other than Ganesha sharing with us his own experience? What was his exercise regime like? Did he lose weight? Did his cholesterol level improve? Did his blood pressure improve? So on and so forth. And that is probably the most convincing proof any audience could have from a persuasive speech. I also felt that although the content of his PowerPoint slides were very interesting, there probably were too many points because I also could not exactly remember. So I felt if we could trim down to 3 important points, example, always wear your track shoes so that you will make sure you go and exercise or whatever. If we could trim down to 3 important points, it would be helpful for us to be able to have a very clear takeaway about his speech. I was quite taken aback when suddenly he just threw a challenge to all of us, a challenge of 80 points. Then these are the set of exercises to do. So I felt the conclusion was a little too rushed. I would perhaps like to suggest to Ganesha to think about how about summarizing what he has actually shared with us in his speech in his conclusion. So it will help us to remember his speech better and possibly also make a bigger impact with us during his speech conclusion. But all in all, it's definitely a very timely reminder for all of us to take physical training seriously. It's like investing. And thank you, Ganesha, for being such a congenial speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Sailing. Now, the final speech evaluation would be of Yang Xing's speech will be given by our esteemed lawyer and today's language evaluator, Devi Havidas. Ms. Devi, please.
Thank you, Sam, Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening again to everyone, and especially to Toastmaster Liang Ting. In your characteristic organized manner, you fulfilled the purpose of this project. The purpose was to develop a plan and to give a short overview of the plan for your project. You first started out by identifying the goal that was the nub of what you had in mind. A project has to have an objective. You identified that very clearly at the outset. For the club to attain first the status of a distinguished club, and from there to achieve the rest of the goals. So that was very clear as you started out. Then you clearly zoomed into the most obvious low-hanging fruits that would lead your club to this goal, to attain this goal, and that was completing their projects, especially their level 1 projects. When you were comparing the old level 1 projects with the new level 1 project, it got a little bit technical, and for Toastmasters, we would have been able to follow, but for newcomers, it might have been better if there was a little bit of explanation and a pause there. Or maybe you might have not needed to exercise that discretion in this project. The next target, of course, was engagement. Engagement of your club members. And you clearly identified 2 very suitable members, both for their unique qualities. One being a very young and enthusiastic Toastmaster, and one being a young and experienced Toastmaster for your project. That was excellent and was very tactical. And you also had done all of this. You had put all of these together in a very congenial manner. That is your signature style. Having said all that, I would like to ask you to give a little bit more emphasis in your next presentations and presentations to come to vocal variety. Vocal variety as well as enunciation. When you speak, sometimes all of us make this mistake of speaking a little bit too fast, and then we miss saying the words in a clear manner. So if you were to pace yourself, because you had a lot of time left, I think the timing was 2 minutes and 42 seconds. So you still had a good 20 seconds to go. So pace yourself and use pauses to very good use. When you had an important message to say, if you were to just pause there for a moment and look straight into the camera, you will catch people's attention. So you don't have to actually stop when everything is rushed. Overall, it was a very congenial presentation, and thank you for that overview of your club schools. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Devi.
Thank you.
Thank you all evaluators for sharing great tips with us, even for those who have not spoken tonight. Before we end off this segment, can we have a round of applause for all speakers and evaluators for engaging us in their wonderful speeches? All right, Toon Ling, can we have the timers reports, please?
Okay, for the evaluators, Kok Soon, the timing is 1 minute and 45 seconds. For Serling, the timing is 3 minutes and 1 second. And for Devi is 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Okay, thank you, Toon Ling. I believe Kok Soon doesn't qualify. Miss Devi and Serling both qualify. Oh, that's fast. All right, Liang Ting has posted the code for us to all vote for the best evaluator. Please go to menti.com and use the code 1724. See, it's the same code. 6386 to vote for the best evaluator. While we vote for the best evaluator, we will move on to the next segment, which is the table topic segment. For our dearest visitors who have not spoken yet, worry not, this segment on table topics is your chance to do so and bolster your confidence in the process. Our table topics is our Vice President for Public Relations and also a school teacher, Ms. Jeanette Kwok. I'm sure this table topics experience will be very useful for our new visitors and those who are new to Toastmasters, as well as our current club members. I shall hand over the time to Jeanette to present the table topic segment. Jeanette, please.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Janet. Hi, Sam. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you, Janet.
Okay. Is it possible for you to pin me onto the screen? Oh, hello. Hi. Okay, so we're now at the table topic segment. Good evening, Toastmaster of the day, Sam, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation and also helps us think on our feet. This helps us develop 4 vital communication skills, which are listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. The topics that I have prepared for you will hopefully help all of us become better at improvisation. Since we try to provide a speaking opportunity to maximize audience participation, this session is not restricted to members alone. Even the guests can participate. And I hope that everyone gives this a shot. I may randomly call anyone to participate, or you can volunteer to come up, put up your hands, raise your hand, react. I would request also for the timer to call out the timing guidelines for the table topics round. Is it possible for the table topic, for the timer to call out the rounds of timing first before I show the choices of topics?
So it's a 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes timing. At 1 minute, the screen will turn green, 1.5 minutes turn amber, 2 minutes turn red, and 2.5 minutes time's up.
Okay, so there are altogether 10 topics, as you can see on your screen, I hope. And I am going to randomly call people if you're not going to participate. If you're not going to volunteer, okay? So please volunteer. I would really encourage everybody. I'm beginning to sound like a teacher, which is bad. Okay, but is it possible, please, that you try this out? This is the best opportunity for you to try speaking on the spot, to improvise and to think on your feet. Would anybody like to try, please? Anyone? Perhaps to begin, I might call upon a member to try this out. Would any of the members want to begin so that maybe our guests would not feel so intimidated?
I don't mind trying.
Sorry, and who is that, please?
Ganesha.
Ganesha.
Yeah, that would be Ganesha.
Right. Thanks, Ganesha. Well, you can see that there are 10 numbers there. Can you give me a number?
I'll go for my favorite number, 9.
9. Okay. Number 9. Oh, whoops. Hang on. Sorry. I wish I had.
Oh, there's a lot of wishes. Okay. In this current economy, I would say I wish I had invested a lot younger. Or if I want to be more accurate, I wish I bought Bitcoins, not cryptocurrency, because as you can see, when it began, crypto was about what, 0.5 cents. But now it's about $63,000. So honestly, I feel like if I had the knowledge and the skills to understand how much investing was at a very young age, then I would started at a lot younger age, and I foresee that, well, okay, I could see myself not worrying about the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ganesha. You had one singular wish, and that's, well, a very big wish,
Yes.
I'd say. For that difference to happen, it's going to take a bit of time, maybe. I'm not sure, but you know, that's something quite major. All right. Would anyone else like to try? As you can see, the topics are not difficult at all. Anyone would like to give it a try? I see that there's so many people on our list. There is Ruby, there is Winnie, there is Hong Leong. Would anybody like to give this a try? Okay. No?
There's a Shimin Marcia in the chat. Shimin, you want to turn on your video? Yeah, there she is.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Hi, Shimin.
Simin.
Hi, Shimin. Let me just remove in and put you up. Okay, Shimin. I will ask you to choose a number.
I'll go with 7.
You go with 7. Okay. 7. Are you ready?
Do I get, all right. Do I get 10 to 15 seconds or do I have to start immediately?
Okay, you can have 10 to 15 seconds while I explain to you actually the theme of this set of table topics is related to Day of Relaxation or Relaxation Day, because 15th of August is actually National Relaxation Day in the US. And so all the topics, I'm giving some clues here, are related to relaxation in some way or other. So, are we ready?
Yes.
Shimin? Okay, please begin.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Simin. And I'm very, I'm happy to talk about this topic as I find it quite relevant. I am a person who tends to cram my day with all the wishes that I have that I want to do and pursue. So I have a calendar that is full of appointments. And by the end of the day, when I should be happy that I have fulfilled all of these tasks that I have taken on for myself, I find myself indulging in bedtime revenge procrastination, which is a new term that has come up when you're in bed, you should be really tired, and the only thing that you are thinking of at that point is, can I have some me time now? And there is the companion that we all have, our cell phones, and there's no end to options of the things that I can do on my phone. So I begin with reading a book, catching up on social media, and before I know it, it's already 3 a.m. and I am sleep deprived. That's what I wanted to share, and that's my reason. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shimin. Thanks. And indeed, it is a very common problem, is it not? We all are so addicted to doing something in the night because everything else has to be done in the day. So the me time comes in the night and we don't get to sleep. That's a sacrifice. Yes, one big reason, addicted to devices. For me, it's a K-drama, which is very bad. Okay. Can I ask for one other person? We've got 10 topics. 2 have been taken. There are 8 more. Anyone? Okay, I'm going to ask perhaps people with pictures. I don't know, I'm drawn to them because it's visual. Can I ask if Jensen, whether you're interested in doing an impromptu, a table topic?
Hello.
Hi, Jensen.
Is it just to talk about a topic for 15 seconds?
No, you have to talk about it for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, I don't mind.
Am I right? 2 minutes?
Short.
Yes, 1 to 2 minutes. Can Jensen turn on the video so I can spotlight you?
Okay, I'm not well.
Okay. Hi, Jensen.
Hello.
Great to see you online.
Same here.
So I'm going to ask you again to pick a number.
Okay, I'll pick number 5.
Okay, hang on a minute. Number 5. Are you ready? I hope so, because here it comes. We thrive better outside of our comfort zone. Jensen?
Okay.
You may begin if you're ready.
We thrive better outside of our comfort zone. I guess that would be true. I think when we stick in our comfort zone, we will become complacent, we will become comfortable. But if we take a step of courage and take a foot outside of our comfort zone, I believe that we will experience new successes, new victories. We may also encounter small defeats, but I think in the long run, if we improve, we take one step forward every day, we are on the path, we are on the journey of improvement. And I believe that that path will be better than if we were to remain in our comfort zone all the time. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jensen. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Sometimes when we're so caught up in the comfort zone, we don't want to move out of it. Well, at least I'm guilty of that. And that is why I've joined Toastmasters, because I wanted to test myself to see if I could push myself to do something different. I'm usually the one that tells people to speak, but putting myself in the zone of having to speak now is actually rather different, from a different perspective. Coming from a teacher is ironical, but that's true. But thank you so much. Yes, indeed, it's true. Thank you, Jensen.
Yeah.
Would anybody like to give it a try?
Hi, yes, I'm Jeannie, and I would like
Jeannie,
to give
hi, Jeannie.
Yes,
Thank you for, hi, thanks for volunteering. So, Jeannie,
yeah.
Can
I ask what numbers have been taken?
Okay. The numbers taken, just 6 has not been taken yet. Okay. We have 5's been taken, 7's been taken, and oh dear, I forgot.
8 been taken.
9.
Just pick any number and I'll tell you whether it's been taken or not.
Is number 8 available?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'd like
Number
to try that.
Okay, 8. Lucky number.
Yes.
Okay, are you ready, Jeannie?
Nope, but I
Here
will never
goes.
do so.
Okay, but here it comes.
Yeah.
The worst household chore. Jeannie.
Anytime I'm ready, right?
Yes, anytime you're ready.
All right. So recently my domestic helper just went back to the Philippines. So the household chores have been mostly done by like my brother and I. Usually around the house we wash the dishes and also do laundry. But I would say that I hate getting my hands wet the most because I have like eczema or dry skin. So anytime like soap or some very harsh detergent touches my skin, then I would cringe. Like it'll be quite painful for me because of my broken skin. So I try and avoid it. A solution I have is to wear gloves or just like try and avoid touching the water. So yes, I would say that I dislike washing dishes the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeannie. I also hate washing, and I hate washing clothes actually because there's so much. There's so many people in the family. I have to keep washing and washing and washing every day. And I worry about that because just like you, my helper also had just left after COVID to go home and visit the family, and she decided not to come back. So yes, a bit of a headache lah.
We are very grateful for our domestic helpers.
Yes, aren't we? It is only
Yes.
after they leave that we start to
Yes.
wish they will be back quickly. Yes,
Yeah.
right. Do we have time for one more, or do we have to end already? Oh, yes. And please do remember to mention the word congenial, as Sam has kindly reminded. Do we have time for one more or two more? Mr. Toastmaster, Sam?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so as you can see, the topics are not very difficult. It's like having a chat. Doing the table topics are not difficult. Would anybody like to challenge themselves a little bit? Tell us a bit about yourself through these table topics. Anyone?
I can try.
Oh, yay, Kay. That's a very nice name.
Maria Monica.
This is Maria Monica.
Oh, Maria Monica, sorry.
It's okay.
Because I saw your box light up and I got the wrong one. Yes, Maria Monica. That's also a very nice exotic name. Maria, what would
Should I just choose a number?
What would you like to, sorry?
Yeah, I'll just choose a number, right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Maybe number 10. I don't know.
Number 10?
Yeah, has it been taken yet?
Wait, hang on a minute. Number 10 has not been taken. Number 10. Okay. And your topic is, we have lost the art of listening.
Okay. Yeah, this is a very good topic and it's very relatable to me personally because I felt that I have lost the art of listening, and I guess a lot of people have lost the art of listening. We tend to speak a lot, especially me personally. I think that's perhaps like partly driven when you feel like insecure and you feel that you need to speak a lot instead of listening to others. So it's really good to learn the art of listening. And this is something of a habit that I'm trying to work more on. And if we can have, or if we can listen to others better, I think we will create a more congenial environment around us and energy. Is that 2 minutes?
Thank you very much, Maria. Yes, indeed. Listening to people now is becoming a lost art. And also speaking is becoming a lost art. And I'm so glad that you shared with us that, you know, we should actually go back to talking, listening, and having conversations with people. And that's what Toastmasters is all about, so that we learn to have better conversations, we learn how to speak better, interact with people better, and engage people better. Thank you so much, Maria. And would one last person like to try? Anyone? Just one more. It's not very difficult. There's a Harry in our midst. Would Harry like to try? Is he there? Is he still there? Oh, he's gone off.
Can I try?
Oh, yes. Lit. Do I call you Lit or do I call you Sim?
It's fine. Little Sim, it's fine.
All right. Okay. So, okay, I'm trying to get to my, right. And what number would you like?
5.
5? 5, unfortunately, has been taken.
2.
2. Okay. 2 is good. 2 is a nice number.
So I say anything, yeah?
Yes, you can say anything you want. And because, oh, why is it stuck? Sorry, my application got a bit stuck. Let me just get through to it first. Yeah. Oh dear. Okay. Number 2. 2 is a good number too. Sorry.
Janet, you want to just read out the...
Yes. Okay, sorry. And the number, sorry. My top 3 relaxation tips.
Okay, shall I start now?
Yes, please.
Okay, my top 3 relaxation tips. The first one would be I would turn on the radio to listen to 92.4 FM. It's a symphony 92.4 FM. I love listening to classical music, any music that doesn't have lyrics or words. Then the second relaxation tip I would have is I would do breathing exercise, breathing techniques like they have lots of breathing techniques, like imagine you are in the ocean, or imagine you are in, in a castle, things like that. I recently found one app. It's called Whistle, if I'm not wrong. It's a local app. Okay, I didn't realize that there's this app that offers people the chance to talk to someone, but of course that person is not a real person; it's a robot. Then you can speak with the person. You can set some time in every day, and that person reminds you to talk to that person. They teach you tips on breathing techniques. They teach you a lot of stuff. So that is a good app. People with depression, people with stress, people with mental issues, sometimes they don't have anyone to listen to them. So they often need help. So this app really offers, that kind of help to people. The third relaxation tip I have would be going to play table tennis. I love playing table tennis, since I was in the army. I got to learn how to play table tennis from a very good friend. Later on, I participated in several table tennis competitions, and then even in university, I took part, but I never won any competition. I was just a beginner, but I know how to play. So yeah, 3 things that I would, find myself, relaxed, calm, and out of lots of mental stress from work and from some other stuff. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Wow, thanks very much. Lit, a very well balanced person. Music and sports and also mental well-being. Thank you very much for sharing. And I'm going to check out that app that you were saying about learning how to breathe. I think that's very helpful. Thanks a lot, Lit. Okay, so we've come to the end of our, there is a question from Sam who asks, our Toastmaster for the evening, what is the name of the app again? Would you mind typing it into the chat? Wasa. Is that how you pronounce it? Wasa? W-Y-S-A?
W-Y-S-A, okay.
Yeah, that's the one. It's an app made locally.
Okay.
Interesting. Thank you very much. And can we have the timing for our speakers for the table topics? Tun Ling?
Okay, hi. So for Ganesha is 44 seconds. For Simin is 1 minute and 21 seconds. For Jensen is 1 minute and 4 seconds. For Jeannie is 52 seconds. And for Maria is 1 minute and 8 seconds. And for Lit Sim is 1 minute and 55 seconds.
So does everybody qualify?
Ganesha and Ganesha and Jeannie do not qualify because it's less than 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much, Tun Ling. Is it possible, Yang Seng, for you to help with thank you so much. It's already up, super speed. Kindly go to thementi.com to cast your votes. Thank you very much, everybody. It was really fun listening to all of you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you for facilitating the table topic segment, and thank you for all our brave speakers who decided to speak up. And I'm sure you all found the experience useful. To help facilitate your learning better, our next segment will be table topics evaluation, where our dearest mentor member, Sailing, will be helping us to evaluate the table topics that you all have spoken. Over to you, Sailing.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, Club President, fellow Toastmasters and friends. And this time I'm back again to provide feedback to all the table topic speakers. So the first speaker, Ganesha, his topic was, I wish I had. So it was very clear, I wish I had. So it's a topic about regret, and he did fulfill the objective. He did give us one regret, which was that he wished he had invested a lot younger, and he wished he had invested in cryptocurrency. But as we all know, a table topic is also a speech. And if we join Toastmasters, we know that a speech has got a speech opening, a body, and a conclusion. And usually the speech opening, you could ask a question. For example, how many of you have had regrets? And for me, I would like to share with you one regret. For example, I wish I had something. And then in the speech body, if the regret is on cryptocurrency, perhaps he could also have given 3 points why he had the regret. Because cryptocurrency last time was, I don't know how many cents, and now is how many $1,000 or whatever. And also maybe cryptocurrency is the way to go or whatever. So 3 points to booster the point that why he regretted, and then maybe to have a conclusion. And of course, Ganesha also missed out the opportunity to clock the use of the word of the day. So it would have been helpful, yeah, if there was a reminder earlier. Of course, later there was a reminder, but there were quite a lot of missed opportunities to use the word of the day. And I think if Ganesha had this speech organization, maybe he could have clocked at least 1 minute, at least, you know. So the idea with to deliver a table topic speech is to pin the timer and to stop speaking only after you see the green light, because that assures you 1 minute. And then you will be eligible to be voted for the best table topic speaker. So that's the feedback I have for Ganesha, to consider maybe, you know, lengthen it. For example, maybe at the beginning you could say that it was only a few cents and nobody really paid attention. And it's not even backed by real assets. And it was cryptocurrency. Maybe he could have begun it his table topic speech that way. That would have attracted all of attention, and then he could zoom in into that. And that's my biggest regret. I wish I had, and then maybe that way you would have also made his speech more entertaining. So now let me move on to the next table topic speaker. The topic was very clear: why I'm deprived of sleep. And so the speaker straight away launched into her personal experience, how she packed her day and what she did until the bedtime. So she answered again the table topic question, which is why I'm deprived of sleep. Like I mentioned, perhaps the speaker could also have made it into a speech. So it's like instead of straight away launching to answer, she could say that every day I am, you know, revolving whatever, and you know, and then by the time I'm in my bed, actually my day has not ended. Actually, it has continued, and it's in this segment called me time or whatever. And so again, it's how she could actually entertain us with her speech. Because actually the way she said her speech was already very entertaining, I thought, because supposed to sleep, but actually what an irony, still not sleeping because she's doing the social media. But it's again how she can actually repackage the content so that it's more entertaining. And then of course, besides explaining why she's deprived of sleep, maybe she could also tell us how it affected her the next day. Like the next day when she wakes up, she's actually not recharged. She's feeling very tired. She's like, you know, whatever. So that way, maybe the speech will be probably, I thought would be more comprehensive rather than just straight away answer why I'm deprived of sleep. Yeah, and of course, missed opportunity in terms of also the use of the word of the day, congenial. The third speaker is we thrive better outside our comfort zone. So this one, the speech is very clear. It's a proposition. I am proposing that we try better outside our comfort zone. So this is what the speaker proposes to take the position. And he actually gave a balanced argument. He said that if we stick with our comfort zone, we will become complacent. And therefore, he actually chose to take the position that when we go outside our comfort zone, even though we may face challenges, yeah, but in the long term, we will make improvements and it's better. So I think generally his argument is very, very balanced. Only thing is, when you do a proposition, you make a point, it's all based on logic. And we know that from Aristotle, the Greek orator, that you don't persuade just based on logic. So we need emotion. And probably the best way to persuade is use our personal example. For example, maybe last time I always was risk averse, but now I took more risks, and you know, these are my benefits, my changes. That's one example. Another example is maybe you can also link back to history. For example, Thomas Edison, if he didn't go out of his comfort zone, then maybe you wouldn't see the electric light bulb. Example. So use examples to support, especially for topics that require you to take a position to justify. Don't just persuade using logic. Try to use examples. And right, and then of course, do remember again, need a attention grabbing speech opening, speech body with 3 points, as well as to conclude. The worst household chore. So I like Jeannie's way of speech organization, although I think she wasn't aware she was doing it. She was doing it unconsciously, but it was very entertaining. I felt that she actually had a mystery suspense to her speech, table topic speech, because she said recently her domestic worker went home. Okay. And after that, she said, the chores are washing dishes and doing laundry. Okay. So at the back of my head, I was wondering, hey, so what is the worst household chore? So I'm waiting for her to review the lucky draw prize. And then she took a while. She explained her personal experience, which is eczema she doesn't like. So she explained how she does it. And then finally, towards the end, then bang, she told us the mystery is revealed. She said, I dislike washing the dishes the most. So I thought, all in all, it was a very entertaining table topic speech. And I hope that, I believe she met the timing duration, which is 1 minute. But I was wondering if Jeannie could consider acting out. For example, pretending to wash the dishes and then, showing that the fingers, very afraid to touch the detergent or whatever. If she could act out, I think maybe it will have more comedian effect. It could be even more humorous and more entertaining. So this is just food for thought. Like actually for this speech topic, it could become an entertaining and a humorous speech. But all in all, I thoroughly enjoyed Jeannie's mystery suspense speech organization. And for Mariam Monica, so the topic was we have lost the art of listening. And so I felt she was politically very correct because she said it related to me personally. I felt I have lost the art of listening. So before she said we, she said I. So in a sense, I felt she didn't offend anybody because we are together, but it's not just you, it's me also. So I thought she addressed it. So that was good. And she explained the reason of why we have lost the art of listening. She also gives the benefit that it is good to learn the art of listening, so that we can create a more congenial environment. I think we understand, but if it's going to become a speech, it still needs, it's like writing a general paper or an essay. You need some more content, to fill the scaffolding. And so what's the content? Perhaps she could have shared with us how, when she lost the art of listening, how has she affected her relationship with others? How has it affected her working style or her working life? I think then in that case, she would be more persuasive in, because when she can share from a personal experience, maybe we could see ourselves in her example. Then she could also be more relatable to us. So that's what I have for suggestion for improvement for Mariam Monica. And the last speaker leads some, my top 3 relaxation tips. So from here already, we can see that his speech body will have 3 points, which are the 3 relaxation tips. And he actually shared with us what he does. And so what's probably missing is probably attention grabbing speech opening. For example, how many of you know how to relax? Or how many of you know that I actually can relax very well in this very tense society or whatever, So just have an attention grabbing opening. So either you can use statistics like a survey of Singaporeans show that nobody knows, 90% of the people don't really know how to relax. But and also it shows that because of that, many of them have a heart vascular, cardiovascular diseases. So if he can open with some attention grabbing speech opening, and then he launched into my top 3 relaxation tips. And he conclude with, so I've shared with you my top 3 relaxation tips, which are blah, blah, blah. And I hope you could consider using them. So to have also a good speech, to have a speech conclusion, then I think his entire table topic speech would be a more full-bodied, comprehensive speech delivery. But all in all, he has definitely answered the question, which is his top 3 relaxation tips. And so I would say that the people who have participated in the table topic, I would say they have all taken the first step in their life. They have stepped out of the comfort zone. So we should applaud all of them for their courage. And I hope that they enjoy the experience and they will consider coming back to do a speech that is more than just 1 minute. Maybe they can maybe step out of the comfort zone to introduce themselves in a 4 to 6 minute icebreaker speech. So it's an open invitation that all of them could come back and join our club. hope to hear from them again. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Seiling. Thank you to all the table topics speakers as well. And now let us move on to our next segment, which is the long-awaited mini talk segment on how to combat inflation and win it. To advise us on this, we have our spectacular keynote speaker for today, Mr. Cumming. Cumming is the CEO and co-founder of MoneyFeed, a Singapore fintech company with global ambitions. Cumming himself is very well versed with finance, having spent many years in the investment industry in London, New York, and Singapore as a stockbroker, a fund manager, and a trader. Over to you, Cumming.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, all of you, for attending. It's a great pleasure, great honor to be invited to join and speak with you. And it's going to be quite nerve-wracking for me because this is definitely outside of my comfort zone as well. I've checked in to see whether it's okay to have to do slides. So I'm not sure whether the slides will still show me, but let's see if it works. So if you bear with me, I'm going to give this a try and see if this works. Are you able to see the first slide?
I think we're looking at the presenter view.
Ah, okay. So that's the wrong view. Okay, how do I get out of this one? Stop share, new share.
Yep.
Okay. Let me just get into this. Okay, how's this?
Great, can see now.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. So the speech topic is inflation, how to combat it and win. So I think I need to set some expectations here. This is going to be how to combat it in the short term, and hopefully how to win in the long term, which is really what we're all about. So in my 3 decades of investing, I've learned that taking the long view is by far the best way for the average person to get rich, and also works for the below average person as well. This is something which is not a get rich quick scheme, it's a get rich slow strategy over time. So this is what I'd like to get across to you in every environment, but particularly what to do in the near term and the long term in this current inflationary environment. So without giving myself too much of a plug for my company, I'm the CEO of MoneyFit. I started in the institutional investment industry in 1987 in the UK. I've worked for companies like Schroders, Credit Suisse, Merrill Lynch, and JP Morgan. And actually back in 87, 2 weeks after I started work, there was a massive crash. Some of you may remember it. Most of you may not have been born at the time, but there was a huge crash. The market dropped 20% in one day. 2 weeks after I started work, it dropped 40% in 2 months. So this is the sort of backdrop that I started working in. And at that point, the S&P 500 index dropped, as I said, 40% to about 220 points. I won't go into the numbers too much. But broadly speaking, about 5 years ago, I wanted to actually help people outside of the institutional industry to start making better financial decisions for themselves. So we set up a business in Singapore to focus on financial literacy and a platform to help people take action. And we like to say that knowledge without action is useless. So let me share a little knowledge and give you some tips to take action. Now, the subject that we have for today is inflation. So I'm sure everyone pretty much knows what inflation is about, but it's basically when things cost more today than they did before. We usually compare it with a year before. It's usually not just one item, but a basket of items that you would naturally be buying into. Now, the question, of course, is whether inflation is bad or not. And actually, a little inflation is good. You want your pay to go up every year, at least a little bit, right? So as long as you get to buy more stuff with it, or if it means that you can choose to save and invest more. So overall, it's not such a bad thing, but it can be bad if you're paying higher prices for things unless you're getting paid more to in your salary. And of course, it's really bad for your savings, particularly if you're just sitting in cash, because those savings that you've built up over time are worth less than they used to be. And it can actually be a good thing if you're the one selling the items, unless it's cost you more to produce it, either paying your staff or buying the raw materials. So it's not automatically good or bad. And it's just based on just based on prices going up. So we'll come back to these 3 points a little bit later in this talk. And the question, I guess, comes down to where inflation comes from. It could be from what we call demand pull, when people have a lot of money and they're spending it, and it could come from cost push, when the cost of making things, providing services goes up. So, but wherever it starts from, it can actually take on a life of its own. So I'd like to show you graphically and talk you through a little bit of what tends to happen. So in the first instance, where we're looking at a demand pull situation, we have more money, so we end up spending more. Our bosses haven't made enough things, so then they are able to charge more for the goods that they have made, and then things cost us more to buy. And then the cost push kicks in, where things cost us more to buy, so we all ask to get paid more. It costs our bosses and other people's bosses more to make things because of the cost of us, and then bosses charge more for their goods, and once again things cost us more to buy, and we all asked to get paid more, etc. And then it goes round and round and round, and that's really where things start to get a bit dangerous, because it sort of takes on a life of its own, and it sort of gets worse and worse until the authorities can start to bring it under control. So what they tend to do, the central banks tend to do, is they try and stop us having too much money to spend. So they cut out that portion where we have too much money. Going forward, then it's no longer an issue of not having enough things made. In fact, there may be too much just sitting in warehouses. And then if that's the case, then our bosses, the companies that we buy from as well, no longer has pricing power. Therefore, things don't cost us more. Prices stop going up. So problem solved, inflation over, fantastic. Sounds easy, but unfortunately, that's not quite so easy. Because to do that, to cut out that initial move of spending, they need to raise interest rates. So this is known as the price of money. And what happens is that the price of money goes up. So the cost of doing business and paying off debts from businesses and yourselves will go up. Businesses and consumers slow down and have less money, and that's what actually kills off inflation. But the danger, of course, is that they might slow the economy so much that they trigger a recession. And a recession is where people are paid less in what they call real terms, which means relative to what money can actually buy, and where many others, which means that relative to what their money can actually buy, people are paid less, and many other people lose their jobs and even possibly lose their businesses. But even if it's not actually a recession, they want the central banks want the economy to slow down a lot if inflation is high, so it doesn't turn into a Frankenstein. And you have to remember that this is a feature and not a bug. So they are trying to slow the economy down. They're trying to make things a little bit more expensive so that you spend less money. They're trying to make businesses maybe not close down, but stop growing and stop expanding so quickly. Now in Singapore, it's a little bit different, because what they actually do is different from everywhere else in the world, which is that they increase how quickly the Singapore dollar appreciates against other currencies like the USD or the ringgit or rupiah or Thai baht or euro. And what that does is make foreign products cheaper for us to buy, which is good for keeping prices down since we import so much. But it also slows the economy down that way as well, because our local goods and services become less competitive for both us and for foreigners trying to do business with us and our companies. So what can we do? This is the short term for us. We think that the best thing to do is really to cut spending. So you'd have to save more in case in the case of a recession or a slowdown, you could potentially lose your job or at least get paid less or not be paid as much as the rate of inflation. And you can boost your emergency funds to 9 months just in case you're out of a job and potentially have to wait around until you get a new job. So you need to have a good emergency fund. You could get an extra job or a side hustle as well. So increasingly, that's something that is expected in this day and age. I think the Generation Z and millennials are very good at that and trying to make a little bit of money, extra money here and there. And then say no, stop giving money away. It's in terms of people asking you for money, asking you for loans. They may be in trouble, but you need to be very aware of that. Of course, you have to be very sensitive in terms of charities because they can also suffer in a downturn. So choose carefully who you would give money away to. And then what we have is also pay down debt, because if interest rates go up, then that makes your repayments more expensive. And of course, if you lose your job, you still have to pay all your loans back. And then for your debt, try and find the lowest interest rate around, because even if rates have started to go up, you can still shop around. This is not the time to be loyal to your bank. And then you can actually contribute to inflation by demanding a raise from your boss. And this is, of course, one of the ways that inflation keeps on going and going and going. And in a way, it's a bad thing for the overall economy. But from your perspective, personally, asking for a raise from your boss will help offset the expenses that you would have that are going up because of the inflation. And then in terms of your savings, you could just put your money in the bank, of course. It's very safe, and that's what you want to have for your emergency money, your rainy day money. But interest rates there may still be less than the inflation rate. So even there, you have eroding of your real purchasing power. In other words, the value of your savings, the value of the dollar in your pocket will go down compared to what you can buy. But it's worth it for a certain portion of your rainy day fund, for your emergency fund, in order to give yourself a sense of security, a sense that you can look after yourself if the worst were to happen. And then investing. So this is for the long term, for the win. So this is investment. This is not investment advice, so I can't recommend anything. But generally, in terms of investing, consumer staples and utilities, things that you would go to buy, things that you will always need to buy, whether the economy is good, whether your job is good or bad, and utilities. Those typically are safer over this period, but absolutely everyone knows this. So it's not like it's definitely easy money. Once we move into fears of a recession, then typically these consumer staples and utilities will perform very well compared to other companies. And you've seen this if you follow the markets in the way some of the big tech names crash and then bounced up again. So broadly speaking, don't try to time the markets. If you look at the little picture on the right, you might recognize that from the little cycle of how we could see inflation going round and round and round. And it's really from how the bosses can and do charge more for their goods. So if anything, what you'd want to do is be exposed or have an investment in companies which can and do charge more for their goods in an environment of inflation. So the important thing really is to either choose some very good companies for the long term or to diversify your investments. Look at ETFs, and funds as a way to have a very diversified portfolio, so that if one of them blows up, one of them goes down a lot, then it won't hurt your overall long-term portfolio by very much. And when markets come down, it's actually like everything's on sale, if you think about it. So if you like something at 100, at 50, it's painful if you've been buying it at 50, at 100, but at 50, it's like it's on a 50% sale. So don't try to time the market. Look at dollar cost averaging. And just in terms of timing the market, this came from JP Morgan. And if you stayed invested for 20 years until January of this year, and put $10,000 and just kept your money in there and didn't do anything with it, just kept it in there, you'd have about $60,000 after those 20 years. If you try to time the market and just happen to miss just the best 10 days in the market, just by trying to time the market, you would actually have less than 30,000 over those 20 years. So it's very, very important to not try and time the market. Everyone will be trying to tell you, this is a good time to buy, this is a good time to sell. I won't do that, not just because this is not investment advice, but because that would just be bad advice. And the question is, how can you best look to participate in these markets when they're going up and when they're going down and when they're going sideways? So the answer really is something called DCA, or dollar cost averaging. So this is what this talk is all boiling down to start investing and to do so, start or continue investing and to do so through dollar cost averaging, which means that you invest the same amount of money regularly, whether the market prices are up or down. So when prices are up, you buy fewer shares or fewer units. And when prices are down, because it's the same amount of money you're putting in each week or each month or each quarter of a year, then you buy more of it. You're not trying to think, is it cheap now? Is it expensive now? You just buy a certain fixed dollar figure each month or each quarter, and try and think less and try not to stress, not to worry about it. So over time, it's like magic. You generally buy in at a cheaper price. And really, it's just like buying stuff when there's a sale going on. And that is the main message. The only thing I would add is that I wish I'd known this when I started work in 1987, when the index, as I mentioned to you, was dropped 40% in 2 months after I started working, and the S&P 500 was 220. Now it's 4,200. So if I'd kept on dollar cost averaging, if I'd known those 3 letters, if I'd known those 3 words, then I would be a little bit better off than I am now, and I'd be able to give you those examples from my amazing trading from the last 30 years. But as it is, I have lessons from what I didn't do. And that's the end of my talk. So again, a little mini plug for who we are and what we're up to and what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Carmine. I think we have time for a few questions. Anyone wants to ask any question? Maybe I can get started by asking. I'm wondering about the current inflation environment. Do you think we have hit peak inflation, or do you think this inflation environment will last for a long time this time?
Well, the inflation rate shot up very aggressively end of last year. So there are a handful of factors that went into why it did that, and it's almost like it's the worst, or other sort of like all the factors came in together at the same time. So what we had in the current period is that you had this first situation where governments and central banks pumped in a huge amount of money to stop the pandemic from causing even greater pain. And then, of course, many things couldn't be made over that period because people are work from home or factories were shut down. And you couldn't really go out to spend your money anyway. So people sat there and got e-commerce or streaming or trading or had food deliveries and all these things. And then when restrictions were lifted, you had what they call revenge retail. You had revenge travel and revenge retail. I think an earlier speaker talked about revenge procrastination, and which I think is a great term. So then you had all this money that had been built up during the lockdown period, hitting a limited amount of supply, both in terms of actual things as well as people able to provide the services. And the most obvious one would be things like airline, cabin crew, or the sort of the baggage handlers, even more so, pilots, that sort of thing. So suddenly prices went shooting up as a result. And then on top of that, you also had higher costs coming through, not just from the supply chain breakdown. When people weren't traveling, then you don't have as much cargo going underneath, so in the belly of the plane. So you have the supply chain breaking down. And then you had the war in Ukraine, which obviously the more tragic things than the price impact of what's happening in Ukraine. But that, of course, affected oil and food prices. So all of these things came together into one massive push up. The experts at the end of last year were saying, "Oh, it's just transitory, that things will change over time." And all those experts had really, really good reasons to think that. And all of those experts may or may not be right. And we may be seeing sort of transitory, this transitory period starting to roll over, because you have producer prices, or what used to be called wholesale prices, coming down. You have a flattening of consumer prices, that sort of thing. But they're still at very high levels, like 40-year high levels. And longer than that in some countries. And we're still looking at sort of double-digit inflation rates. So it's hard to imagine that they would come down very, very, very quickly. They may go up less quickly, but that's not the same as the ending of inflation. But as far as inflation is concerned, there are so many experts that are giving opinions. It's always interesting to see stock markets and other markets focusing on one number, which is like an average consensus figure. They're saying, oh, the market expects 10.3%, or sorry, 9.5% or something, and then it comes in at 9.4%. They say, oh, it's much lower than expected, but it's all a wide range of forecasts. So the forecasts are very, very wide. Someone's going to be right. A lot of people are going to be wrong. In fact, it could be that everyone is wrong. And it's very hard to call exactly what's happening with the inflation figures. But what I can say is that there are a lot of experts, a lot of very smart people trying to guess the path of inflation, trying to guess the path of markets. And the best thing you can do with all these brilliant minds is ignore them.
What? Okay.
So everyone said it was transitory end of last year. They had really good reasons, but it wasn't transitory. Maybe it's going to go up, maybe it's going to go down. So the best thing to do is not play their game. Their game is to try and get things right this week, this month, this quarter, maybe this year. If you're lucky enough to have a few years to think about what you want to do for your future, and to actually become, as I was saying, the winner in the long term, then ignore what they make money from, ignore their KPIs, and focus on your own.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Kang Ming, for that great advice.
I think ignore them. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's very useful advice. That helps to answer the second question about, does DCA work in a prolonged downturn? So I'm sure the answer is yes.
Well, does it work in a prolonged downturn? If you say in a prolonged downturn, of a stock market, or even one stock or one share or one index, then in the over the period of that, the steady decline, which way around is it? Going down, 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 down this way, right? Then you would have, then you would be buying at a lower and lower price, right? Lower and lower price, you buy more and more shares or units of a fund at a lower and lower price as it drops. But then if you believe that in the long term, things will end up higher, then you've actually been buying lower and lower down, and your average will be quite low. Would it be better to wait until it goes to the bottom and then buy everything right at the bottom before it goes up again? Yes. Do you know anyone who can pick the bottom every single time? The answer is no, and that's where that chart that I put towards the back of the presentation comes into it. I think it was here, right? So if you wait until you want to pick the very bottom and then you miss the rally from that level, you'd end up just missing the last 10 days in 20 years of investing, right? That's, what is that? 200 days a year. So that's what, 4,000 days of investing. You miss the 10 best days, then you make less than half of the money just based on one investment right at the beginning. So trying to time the market to pick the very bottom is more likely than not going to lose you money. Will it feel rotten seeing what you buy this month, the next month, 6 months from now, another year from now, getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper? Yes, it will. But that's why you have to be playing the longer game.
Okay, thank you, Coming, for that. Yeah, I think that's answered most of the questions. So we are running a bit out of time. Maybe there's this one question that will, there's this question on, can I ask if money feed services are only US based?
Actually, no, we're Singapore based. We're Singapore based. And what we're trying to do, again, I'm not to plug us as such, even though we do have our launch coming up, soft launch coming up in September. What we're trying to do is help people with what to do, which to do first, and explain why. So the what to do will be very small steps. Remember, right at the beginning, I had in what we're trying to achieve, our mission, which is small steps to a better life. We'll help with what small steps, like which could be budgeting, reducing your credit card rollover, starting an emergency fund, getting enough appropriate insurance, starting to invest, all the sort of little nitty-gritty things. And then we also help with which to do first. So what is the most important thing for you in a non-advisory way, but what is the most important thing for you given your particular situation? Because there's so much information out there. What I like to tell people is that in 1987, there wasn't much information online because there wasn't an online. But now there's too much information online. Even if you can, and there's a lot of good information and a lot of terrible information, even if you can get rid of all the terrible information, all the information that's good is really good, but everything is the most important thing to do. Do you love your children? Yes, then you must buy insurance. Do you want to live in a cardboard box when you're 60 years old? No, then you should start investing. Do you want to pay lots of interest to your credit card company? No, then do this, do that. Everything is the most important thing. So we try and help people to decide on what is the most important thing to do for them first, because the most important thing is to take some kind of action.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Coming.
I said it wasn't a plug, but it turned into a bit of a plug.
No worries on that. I think some of us may still have some questions and may want to get in contact with you. Do you mind leaving like your contact details, or how do we get in touch with you in the chat box?
Oh, sure. Let me give you my email again. First, let me just be really clear. Okay, I'll just give my email address. And if everyone can, well, if writing in can just say that sort of you through Toastmasters, that'll be really helpful for when I see an email.
All right. We would also like to take a group photo with you to commemorate our time. Okay, I think Cheryl will be helping us take the photo. Can everyone turn on their videos?
Maybe Sam, you stop the screen share so it's easier to see all of us in gallery mode.
Stop share. Here we go.
Thank you, Kami. Cheryl, are you going to time us?
10. Okay, everyone all ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. You want another photo? Can change pose.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, coming. Thank you for that wonderful speech and advice on how we can combat inflation through proper BCA. And now let us move on to our next segment, which is the language evaluation. To give us our report on how well we fare in terms of the use of our language today, as well as the use of the word of the day, congenial, we once again have our distinguished language evaluator, Ms. Debbie Hawidas. Ms. Debbie, please.
Thank you, Sam. Just for the record, I'm not a distinguished Toastmaster. So, but thank you for the elevation before my time. There are a number of people in the room who are not Toastmasters, as I noticed. So for the benefit of, just one moment, for the benefit of our new friends, I just want to give you a short introduction to what this segment is about. Purpose of language evaluation is the same as that of any other evaluation. That is to raise your awareness, my awareness, our awareness, to reinforce good habits. It is not a grammar class. What I would like to bring to you is small realizations that make minor adjustments, which can make a major difference to the way you sound to your audience. This is what we do here in Toastmasters, which is training for public speaking. Like Jensen said, we have to step out of our comfort zone and into a journey to improve ourselves. I really loved the way he strung that sentence together. First mistake that most of us do when we prepare our speeches, prepared speeches especially, is we write an essay. Not just any essay, we write a decorated essay. What do I mean by that? You write as if you are going to be marked for PSLE exam or O-level or A-level, whatever exam it is that you have. Now, remember that your audience is a listening audience. They do not have your script to follow your speech. So if you keep your sentences short, they will be able to follow you. If you make it long and convoluted, you will lose your audience and their interest very quickly. Try and follow this. By reason of the fact that Shirley had had an exhausting day, which was not quite over yet, and because Harry was also not cooperating with her extensive efforts to comfort him, the ultimate result was a complete breakdown and shocked the entire family. Did any of you understand what I was saying? I'll give it to you in short sentences now. Shirley was exhausted. She still had many chores to complete. Harry refused to stop crying despite all her efforts. Eventually, she just broke down. See what I mean? One is for a reading audience, the other is for a listening audience. Now, what we want to do here is we want to hone our skills for a listening audience. What must we do to achieve this? Very simple. All words are made up of the letters in an alphabet. You have consonants, you have vowels. Where you see a consonant, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, your consonants have to be pronounced, have to be heard. I'm not saying to death, but they have to be heard, like they exist. I'll give you an example of the letter L. Festival. What do we say? Festival. It's not understandable, but you don't sound good. When you say festival with an L, it's better to perceive you from the speaker mode. People, if you say people, that actually puts a totally different complexion on the word. People, someone who peeks into people's rooms, not good. Help. When we say help, it's not help. You know, helpless is it is good English word, but they mean something totally different. So help. Powerful with an L at the end. Real with an L at the end. Goal. What's your goal? With an L at the end. You get the general idea. Now, is the letter L always pronounced like this? No. There are words where it is silent. Example, could, should, would. All these words have L. Do you pronounce them? No, you don't. Calm, calm down. L, but you don't pronounce it. Chalk, a piece of chalk. There is an L, you don't pronounce it. Half, also a silent L. So you have to know where your consonants need to be pronounced and where you must not pronounce them. The letter T, another example, set. You set your target or you set your goal. Scarlet with a T at the end. I'm pronouncing the word a little bit harder so you see that it has to be heard. Not. I am not going to expect you to pronounce this word to death, but not has a T. Now, is a T silent in some words? Yes. Chalet has a T. Do you say shallot? No, it's chalet. Gourmet has a T at the end, but we don't pronounce it. Rapport. So there are many words with silent T as well. So know your consonants, where you have to say them, where you don't say them. Risk, K at the end. We are always prone to pronouncing it as risk. We mean risk, but we say risk. The word W-R-I-S-T, wrist, right? Your wrist, also sounds like wrist when we don't say the T, correct? So again, the K is to be pronounced. Is there a silent K? Of course. Knee, you have your knee, you have a knock, you kneel. All these words have K, but you don't pronounce them. Okay, so that's 4 consonants. What about vowels? Now, these creatures are a little bit more troublesome, but they make more damage than your consonant letters. Why? Feeling or filling. I don't know. Are you talking about your mood, how you feel, or are you in a dentist chair having a filling in your teeth? Right? You decide. It's filling or feeling. Dark or duck. You know, totally different genre. Sleep or slip. Bit or beat. Fit or feet. Which would you like to have in your mouth? Foot or food? You decide, I prefer my food in my mouth. Sometimes we do get our foot in the mouth, which is not a very pleasant situation. There were many lovely phrases that I picked up in today's evening, but I'm not going to be able to list them all down. Give you a sampling now. Words have power. They push us towards our goals. I thought that was beautifully put and quite powerful. Villains are the most honest people because they are true to themselves. I thought that was very well said, but I never quite saw it in that light, but it's food for thought. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert. It was almost like I was reading off a shrink wrap license on some product. Lean back on history, not just refer back to history, lean back on history. I thought that was a beautiful, beautifully crafted phrase. Small steps to a better life. That was from our speaker for the evening. Revenge, procrastination. These are very simple words we all know throughout our lives, but we never bring them together. We don't string them in such creative manner. So you see, you don't have to have long sentences, bombastic words to sound good or impress your audience. Just keep it simple, keep it short. Short sentences. Avoid forced fillers. Most of us do. My famous pause filler has always been so. I think I've avoided it today. Oh, please don't count that. That was an example. And do not thank your audience. When you have come to the end of your presentation, please don't say thank you. Why? Simple. You are the one who put in all the effort to present to your audience. So who should be the one thanking who? Your audience should be the one thanking you for your effort and your presentation. Then you would ask, how do I end? If I don't say thank you, it's very awkward. What do I say? How do I let them know that I'm done? So you hand the control back to the person who has the control of the meeting overall. We call them MC in Toastmasters. We call them Toastmaster of the evening. And how do you do this? You call on the Toastmaster of the evening to take back control of the meeting from you. So you've done your speech, you're all done, and now you say, with that, Toastmaster of the evening. And that's what I'm going to do now. I hand the time back to Toastmaster of the evening. Toastmaster Sam, please.
Thank you, Ms. Devi, for that wonderful speech, wonderful language evaluation. Moving on to the next segment on the R counters report. We not only want to speak good English, we also want to reduce the use of our pause fillers to let us know how many pause fillers we have contributed to tonight's meeting. We have our R counter, Jin Tan, our dearest club member. Jin, please.
Thank you, Sam. So we have Sam for one and that's all. For Davy will be one actually, one so, still have one so, and that's all. And for Cheryl will be one repeat, 7 2 N. And for Ganisa will be one repeat, that's all. For Liang Sing will be 2 and 1 so. For Kok Soon, there's none, which is very good. And Sailing, there are 3 actually, 2 repeat, 7 For Janet, there is 1 and 1 so and 1 N. Okay, for table topic session, none from Ganisa, Siming, and Jensen, which is very good. And for Jeannie, there are 4 That's all. For Maria, Monica, there are 3 and that's it. For lip sync, there is 2 ya, 1 you know. For tuning, there is 3 1 yep. And for speaker coming, there is 8 and 3 N. That's all. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening, Seb.
Thank you, Jin, for that meticulous R counters report. Now it's the awards segment. Remember the voting you all did earlier? We have counted the winners and let us present the winners. The award for the best prepared speech today goes to, I'm trying to do a drum roll. Cheryl. Woo. Congrats, Cheryl, for winning best prepared speech. Next up for our best evaluator. The award for best evaluator today goes to Sailing. Congrats, Sailing. Finally, for best table topic speaker, the award for best table topic speaker goes to Lead Sim. Congrats, Lead, for winning the best table topics. Now I shall hand over control of the meeting to our president to deliver the closing address and to conclude tonight's meeting. Cheryl, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the evening. Good evening, everyone, once again. We have a fun evening today. Let's see what we have actually covered so far. And firstly, we have the prepared speeches by our speakers. We have covered the why we should show love to villains, and I hope that you are as persuaded by it. Next, is it too late? And physical training is like investing. Good to know that it's not too late. I should actually start exercising now. He actually issued a challenge. Do you actually remember them? Well, we shall do it and try to aim a minimum of 80 points so that we can keep all the mental and our physical health at the peak. Then we soon have the plans to help the level ones for our speakers to reach their goal to completion. And then we have our amazing evaluators, Koksun, Sailing, and Devi Haridas for their amazing evaluation for our speakers, me, Ganesha, and Liang Xing. Let's continue our way to improvement. And I would like also to thank all the members and guests for your active participation for our table topics. I'm really very grateful for the amazing momentum in the table topics. We are also very thankful for our guest speaker, Kai Ming, for sharing about the inflation, about what is and whether it is good or bad, and giving some tips on what we can do on the short term and long term, despite the inflation going on, and also helping us with some of our questions. I hope that you guys learn a lot from this. And for those who want to join the club or have any further questions, do speak and type in chat. And do keep in touch with us and visit our Facebook page for more updates as to what is going on with our club. With that, I'll actually see you next month. On the September, which will be on the 19th of September. With that, thank you, everyone. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Oh, I think we have ended.
I think Ryan wants to join.
Oh, hi, Ryan.
Hello. Yeah, so how can I join the club?
Who's our VPN? You can leave your contact details.
Thanks, Sam.
Jean, you want to?
Yeah. Sure, Ryan, we'll speak to you separately on that. We'll send you a text. How about the rest? May I know if anybody would like to join or give some feedback regarding our session for today? Anyone? Because I see quite a lot of your guests today. Or any feedback. I mean, you don't have to say that you are interested to join, but any feedback that you would like to share? If not, it's okay. We can take it offline then. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster. Sam. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. If you have any more questions, you can let us know in the chat, or we can. Whose number can we leave? Yeah. Jean, do you mind we leave your number in the chat? If you have any questions, we can contact you about joining.
Maria has the time commitment reservations. Actually, Maria, the time commitment that is required of all of us here minimally it's just once a month. We meet, the chapter meetings are held once a month. If you were to ask me, the amount of time you invest in this environment, where it's a very nurturing environment for you to come out of your shell, where people help each other to look and sound better, it is something that is priceless. In fact, if you were to say, I usually take 1 hour to do brisk walking in the morning or evening, it requires less time commitment than that, but the benefits that you can reap from this is infinitely more. I can tell you this because I am a lawyer by training and I practice law. When I first came to Toastmasters, public speaking was still very daunting for me, despite the fact that I speak for a living. So this is where I broke through in public speaking arena. So I hope that'll give you an idea as to, what sort of effort you would want to make to give yourself this opportunity, because this truly is a golden opportunity. So we hope you will join us and hope to see you in our numbers pretty soon. Are you there, Maria?
Yes, I am. I'm penciling down the contacts Jen
Okay.
has given here.
Hope to
Thank
see you soon.
you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Night.